I need you to stop for a moment. Right now, in this very second, I want you to breathe deeply and understand something that might change everything for you. You've been searching, haven't you? You've been looking everywhere for confirmation, for a signal, for that one unmistakable sign that tells you you're on the right path. You've been asking the universe, God, your higher self, or whatever force you believe in, to show you something clear, something obvious, something that screams, "This is it." Well, here's what I need you to understand, and I mean really understand. You found it. This moment, right here, right now, is exactly what you've been asking for. The sign you've been desperately seeking has been staring at you in the mirror every single morning. It's been whispering to you in those quiet moments before sleep. It's been tugging at your heart every time you felt that inexplicable pull towards something different, something more. So before we go any deeper into this journey together, I'm going to ask something from you. I need you to commit to staying with me until the very end of this story, because what I'm about to share with you isn't just a story. It's a mirror, and in that mirror you're going to see yourself in ways you never expected. And here's the thing, we need to reach 100 comments on this video, not because I want numbers, but because every comment is someone declaring to the universe that they're ready. Every comment is someone stepping into their power. So as we go through this together, I want you to think about what you're going to write when this is done. Think about the motivational message you're going to leave, because that comment isn't just for me or for others who will read it. It's your declaration to the universe that you're listening, that you're ready, and that you're taking action. And please, subscribe to this channel, because when you do, the universe knows you're committed to this journey of transformation. The platform will remember you first. We'll show you our content before anyone else. And you'll be at the front of the line when it comes to receiving the guidance and stories that could change your life. Now let me tell you about someone who learned this lesson in the hardest way possible. Her name was Sarah, and on the surface, everything in her life looked perfectly fine. She had a decent job at a marketing firm, a small apartment in a city that never slept, and friends who checked in on her regularly. But inside, Sarah felt like she was drowning in quicksand. Every morning, she'd wake up with this heavy feeling in her chest, this sense that she was living someone else's life. She'd look at herself in the mirror and barely recognize the person staring back. The light in her eyes had dimmed years ago, replaced by a kind of mechanical existence that kept her moving but not truly living. Sarah had dreams once. Big, beautiful, terrifying dreams. She wanted to be a writer, to travel, to create art that moved people's souls. But somewhere along the way, she'd listened to all the practical voices. Her parents had told her to be realistic. Her guidance counselor had pushed her toward a safe career. Her friends had congratulated her when she got the marketing job, telling her how lucky she was to have stability. And so she'd buried those dreams deep inside, so deep that sometimes she could almost forget they existed. Almost. But the universe doesn't let you forget. Not really. It keeps sending you reminders, little nudges, gentle whispers that grow louder and louder until they become impossible to ignore. For Sarah, these reminders came in unexpected ways. She'd be walking to work and suddenly notice a bookstore she'd passed 1,000 times before, and something would make her stop. She'd see a title in the window about following your passion, or a quote about courage, and her heart would skip a beat. She'd be scrolling through social media and come across a post from someone who'd quit their corporate job to pursue their dreams, and she'd feel this strange mixture of inspiration and envy that kept her awake at night. She'd hear a song on the radio with lyrics that seemed to speak directly to her situation, and tears would well up in her eyes for reasons she couldn't quite explain. These weren't coincidences. This was the universe speaking to her in the only language it knows. Synchronicity, pattern, meaning woven into the fabric of everyday life. But Sarah kept dismissing these signs. She'd tell herself she was being silly, that she was reading too much into random occurrences, that everyone felt dissatisfied sometimes, and she just needed to be grateful for what she had. She'd rationalize away every feeling, every intuition, every moment of clarity that tried to break through her carefully constructed walls of denial. Then, one Tuesday morning, everything changed. Sarah woke up and couldn't move. Not because she was physically paralyzed, but because something inside her had simply given up. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, and for the first time in years, She was completely honest with herself. She whispered into the empty room, "I can't do this anymore. If there's anything out there listening, if there's any greater force or purpose or meaning to all of this, please, please show me a sign. Show me what I'm supposed to do. Show me that I'm not crazy for feeling this way. Show me that there's more to life than this." She felt ridiculous saying it out loud, but she was desperate, she was drowning, and this was her last attempt to grab onto something, anything, that might save her. Sarah eventually dragged herself out of bed and went through the motions of getting ready for work. She felt numb, disconnected, like she was watching herself from somewhere far away. On the subway, she stared blankly at the advertisements, not really seeing them, lost in her own thoughts. But then something caught her eye. It was a small poster, partially covered by another advertisement, and she could only see a few words. "The sign you're looking for is the courage to begin." She blinked, reading it again. Her heart started beating faster. Was this it? Was this the sign she'd asked for? But then her rational mind kicked in. "It's just a random poster," she told herself. "It's probably for a gym membership or a self-help seminar. It doesn't mean anything." She looked away, determined to dismiss it. But those words stayed with her all day. They echoed in her mind during meetings while she ate lunch alone at her desk as she mindlessly responded to emails. The courage to begin. What did that even mean? Begin what? That evening, Sarah decided to take a different route home. She didn't know why. Her feet just carried her down streets she didn't usually walk. And that's when she saw it. A small community center with a flyer in the window advertising creative writing workshops. Her breath caught. Writing. The dream she'd buried so long ago. She stood there for what felt like hours, just staring at that flyer. Her hands trembled. This was too much of a coincidence, wasn't it? First the poster, now this. But still, doubt crept in. She could come up with a dozen rational explanations. The city was full of writing workshops. She had probably seen this flyer before and just hadn't noticed it. Her brain was just pattern matching because she'd been thinking about signs. It didn't mean anything. Did it? Sarah walked away from that community center, but she couldn't walk away from the feeling growing inside her. That night she barely slept. She kept thinking about all the little moments, all the synchronicities, all the times the universe had tried to get her attention. She thought about the bookstore, the social media posts, the song lyrics, the poster on the subway, the writing workshop flyer. Separately, maybe they were just random events, but together they formed a pattern. They told a story, and that story was screaming at her to wake up, to pay attention, to take action. But Sarah was scared. Taking action meant risking everything. It meant potentially leaving her job, disappointing people, facing uncertainty. It meant admitting that she'd been living inauthentically for years. It meant stepping into the unknown, with no guarantee of success. So she did what so many of us do. She kept asking for more signs. She told herself that if the universe really wanted her to make a change, it would need to be more obvious. She needed something undeniable, something that couldn't possibly be explained away. She needed the universe to hit her over the head with absolute certainty. And here's what Sarah didn't understand yet, what so many of us don't understand. The universe had already given her everything she needed. The sign she was looking for wasn't some dramatic external event. It was the feeling inside her that wouldn't go away. It was the dreams that refused to die, no matter how deeply she tried to bury them. It was the dissatisfaction that grew stronger with each passing day. It was the tears that came when she heard certain songs or read certain quotes. It was the way her heart raced when she saw that writing workshop flyer. The sign was her own response to all these moments. The sign was her own soul trying to guide her home. 3 months passed, and Sarah was still stuck in the same place, still asking for signs, still waiting for permission from the universe to change her life. But now, a new feeling had joined the dissatisfaction, desperation. She felt like time was running out, like she was watching her life slip through her fingers, while she stood frozen, unable to move. She started having anxiety attacks at work. She'd lock herself in the bathroom stall and cry silently, trying to hold it together long enough to make it through another day. Her friends noticed something was wrong, but when they asked, She'd just smile and say she was tired. How could she explain this feeling to them? How could she put into words this sense that she was betraying herself every single day by not taking action? Then came the breaking point. Sarah was in a meeting, listening to her boss talk about quarterly projections and engagement metrics, and suddenly she couldn't breathe. The walls felt like they were closing in. Her vision blurred. She excused herself quickly, grabbing her purse and practically running out of the office. She found herself in a nearby park, sitting on a bench, gasping for air, tears streaming down her face. And in that moment of complete breakdown, something inside her broke open. She realized with stunning clarity that she'd been approaching this all wrong. She'd been waiting for the universe to give her permission, to give her certainty, to remove all the risk and fear before she took action. But that's not how it works. The universe doesn't remove your fear. It gives you the courage to act despite your fear. The universe doesn't guarantee success. It guarantees growth. The universe doesn't give you external signs to follow. It gives you an internal compass and asks you to trust it. Sarah pulled out her phone with shaking hands. She found the website for that community center and signed up for the writing workshop. Her finger hovered over the submit button for a long moment. This is it, she thought. This is the moment everything changes. And she pressed it. Immediately, she felt something shift inside her. It wasn't that her fear disappeared. It wasn't that suddenly everything became clear and easy. But she felt alive in a way she hadn't felt in years. She felt like she was finally being honest, finally honoring that voice inside her that had been screaming for so long. The sign she'd been looking for wasn't in the external world. It was in the feeling she got when she took that first step. It was in the sense of rightness that came with finally listening to herself. The writing workshop became the catalyst for everything that followed. Sarah started writing again, and it was like coming home after a long journey. The words poured out of her, years of suppressed emotion and buried dreams spilling onto the page. She wasn't good at first. Her writing was clumsy, raw, unpolished, but it was real, and it was hers, and that was enough. She kept going to the workshop every week, and slowly she started to build a community of people who understood what she was going through, people who had also felt that call to create, to express, to live more authentically. People who had also struggled with the fear and doubt and practical concerns that keep so many of us trapped in lives we don't want. But here's where the story gets interesting, because Sarah's transformation didn't happen overnight, and it wasn't a straight line. She didn't quit her job immediately. She didn't suddenly become a best-selling author. She didn't have some magical moment where all her problems disappeared. Instead, she started living in alignment with her truth, even in small ways. She'd wake up an hour earlier to write before work. She'd use her lunch breaks to read books about craft and creativity. She'd spend her evenings revising and editing instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media. And slowly, incrementally, her life began to change. The more she honored her truth, the more signs appeared, not because the universe suddenly decided to help her, but because she was finally paying attention. She was finally receptive. She was finally saying yes to the guidance that had been there all along. Opportunities started presenting themselves. A co-worker mentioned a freelance writing gig and asked if Sarah was interested. She said yes, even though she was terrified. That freelance gig led to another, then another. Within 6 months, she was making almost as much from her writing as she was from her marketing job. The universe wasn't creating these opportunities out of thin air. It was responding to her energy, her intention, her willingness to take action. She was sending out a signal. I'm ready, I'm listening, I'm moving forward. And the universe was matching that signal with synchronicities, connections, and possibilities. A year after that breakdown in the park, Sarah quit her marketing job. It was one of the scariest and most exhilarating moments of her life. She had enough freelance work to support herself, barely, and she'd saved up a small emergency fund. But there were no guarantees she could fail. She could end up broke and having to crawl back to corporate work with her tail between her legs. Everyone in her life had opinions about her decision. Her parents were worried. Some friends thought she was crazy. Others were quietly envious. But Sarah had learned something crucial. She didn't need anyone else's approval or understanding. She didn't need the universe to remove all uncertainty. She just needed to keep listening to that voice inside her and keep taking the next right step, even when she couldn't see the whole staircase. 2 years later, Sarah published her first book. It wasn't a massive bestseller, but it was real and it was out in the world and people read it and were moved by it. She received emails from readers telling her that her words had helped them, had given them courage, had made them feel less alone, and Sarah realized that this was what she'd been searching for all along. Not fame or fortune or external validation, but the feeling of living in alignment with her purpose, the feeling of using her gifts in service of something meaningful, the feeling of being fully, authentically herself. But here's what I really want you to understand about Sarah's story, and here's where we get to the heart of why you're watching this video right now. Sarah's breakthrough didn't come when the universe finally gave her the perfect, obvious, undeniable sign. It came when she realized she'd been receiving signs all along and had been too afraid to acknowledge them. It came when she understood that the sign she was looking for was the feeling inside her that wouldn't go away. It came when she stopped waiting for permission and started trusting herself. And that's exactly where you are right now. You've been asking for signs, haven't you? Maybe you've been asking about your career, wondering if you should stay in a job that feels soul-crushing or take a risk on something that lights you up. Maybe you've been asking about a relationship, trying to figure out if you should stay with someone who doesn't truly see you or have the courage to be alone and wait for real love. Maybe you've been asking about your life's purpose, wondering what you're meant to contribute, what unique gifts you're supposed to share with the world. Maybe you've been asking about your health, your finances, your living situation, your friendships. Whatever it is, you've been asking and you've been looking and you've been waiting. And I'm here to tell you something that might be difficult to hear, but that you desperately need to understand. You already have your answer. The sign you've been looking for is already here. It's in the fact that you're watching this video right now. Think about it. Out of millions of videos you could be watching, out of infinite ways you could be spending this moment, you're here. You clicked on this. Something drew you to these words. That's not an accident. That's not random. That's the universe speaking to you in the only way it can, through synchronicity, through your own choices, through the mysterious force that guides your attention toward what you need to see. But more than that, the sign you're looking for is in your own feelings, your own intuition, your own inner knowing. You already know what you need to do. You already know what choice you need to make. You already know what direction you need to move in. The problem isn't that you don't have the sign. The problem is that you don't trust it. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust that your feelings are valid, that your intuition is real, that your desires matter. You've been taught to doubt yourself, to look for external validation, to wait for someone or something else to give you permission to live your life the way you know. Deep down, it's meant to be lived. So let me give you that permission right now. Let me be the sign you've been asking for. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to walk away from things that don't serve you, even if they're fine, even if other people don't understand. You are allowed to pursue your dreams even if they seem impractical or impossible. You are allowed to trust yourself even when you don't have all the answers. You are allowed to take up space, to have needs, to prioritize your own well-being and happiness. You are allowed to be who you really are, not who you think you should be. Now, let's talk about what you do with this understanding, because awareness without action is just another form of procrastination. First, you need to get quiet and honest with yourself. I want you to ask yourself, if I knew with absolute certainty that I couldn't fail, what would I do? What choice would I make? What direction would I move in? Don't censor yourself. Don't let practical concerns intrude yet. Just feel into what your soul is calling for. That feeling, that knowing, that's your sign. That's your inner compass pointing you home. Second, you need to understand that taking action doesn't mean making huge, dramatic changes all at once. Sarah didn't quit her job the day she signed up for that writing workshop. She took one small step, then another, then another. Each step built her courage, her confidence, her momentum. You can do the same. If you're in a job you hate, you don't have to quit tomorrow. But you can start exploring other options. You can update your resume. You can reach out to people in fields that interest you. You can take an online course. You can do one thing today that moves you closer to where you want to be. If you're in a relationship that doesn't feel right, you don't have to break up immediately if you're not ready. But you can start being more honest about your feelings. You can set boundaries, you can have difficult conversations. You can get clear about what you really want and need. You can do one thing today that honors your truth. If you're confused about your purpose, you don't have to figure it all out right now. But you can start paying attention to what lights you up, what makes time disappear, what you do even if you weren't getting paid. You can experiment. You can try things. You can do one thing today that brings you more alive. Third, you need to make peace with uncertainty. This is crucial. The universe will never remove all uncertainty before you take action. Never. The guarantee doesn't come before the leap. The guarantee comes through the leap. When you take action aligned with your truth, the universe responds. Doors open, opportunities appear, resources show up. But not before you move. You have to move first. You have to demonstrate your faith through your action. That's how this works. That's always how this has worked. Fourth, and this is so important, I need you to really hear it. You need to stop looking outside yourself for validation. Stop asking everyone around you if you should do the thing your soul is calling you to do. They can't answer that question for you because they're not you. They don't feel what you feel. They don't know what you know. They haven't lived your life or walked your path. Some of them will support you. Some won't. Some will project their own fears onto you. Some will be jealous that you're being brave enough to change. Some will genuinely believe they're helping by being realistic. But none of that matters. The only opinion that matters is yours. The only permission you need is your own. Let me give you some practical guidance across different areas of your life because I want you to leave this video with concrete understanding of how to move forward. When it comes to finances, the sign you're looking for isn't a lottery win or a sudden windfall. It's the clarity about what you really need versus what you think you need. It's the courage to examine your spending habits honestly. It's the willingness to invest in yourself, in your growth, in your future. If you've been asking for a financial sign, here it is. Start tracking every dollar you spend for 1 month. Get brutally honest about where your money is going. Then ask yourself, is this aligned with what I say I value? Is this moving me toward my goals or away from them? Make one change. Just one. Maybe it's canceling a subscription you don't use. Maybe it's starting to save $5 a day. Maybe it's finally dealing with that debt you've been ignoring. One change taken consistently compounds over time into transformation. When it comes to love and relationships, the sign you're looking for isn't the perfect person showing up on your doorstep. It's the understanding that you have to become the person you want to attract. It's the clarity that you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. It's the courage to be alone rather than settling for less than you deserve. If you've been asking for a relationship sign, here it is. Start treating yourself the way you want to be treated by a partner. Start keeping the promises you make to yourself. Start honoring your boundaries. Start believing you're worthy of real love. And if you're already in a relationship that doesn't feel right, start being honest. Start having the difficult conversations. Start asking for what you need. And if your partner can't or won't meet you there, start considering what that means for your future. When it comes to your spiritual life, the sign you're looking for isn't some mystical experience or supernatural event. It's the quiet knowing that you're connected to something larger than yourself. It's the peace that comes from meditation, prayer, or whatever practice helps you touch that deeper dimension of existence. It's the trust that you're being guided, even when you can't see the path. If you've been asking for a spiritual sign, here it is. Start a daily practice. It doesn't have to be complicated or time-consuming. 5 minutes of meditation. 3 things you're grateful for. A walk in nature where you really pay attention. A prayer before bed. Something that connects you to the present moment and to the sacred. Do it every day, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. This is how you build your spiritual muscles. When it comes to finding peace, the sign you're looking for isn't the absence of problems or challenges. It's the understanding that peace is an inside job. It's the recognition that you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. It's the wisdom to know the difference between what you can change and what you need to accept. If you've been asking for a sign about finding peace, here it is. Start letting go. Let go of the need to control everything. Let go of resentment toward people who hurt you. Let go of anxiety about the future. Let go of regret about the past. This doesn't mean you become passive or that you don't care. It means you stop resisting reality and start working with what is. It means you trust that you're strong enough to handle whatever comes. I want to share something else with you, something that might shift your entire perspective. Every single day, you're receiving hundreds of signs. You're receiving them through the people you encounter, the conversations you overhear, the books that catch your eye, the songs that come on the radio at exactly the right moment, the thoughts that pop into your head seemingly out of nowhere, the dreams you have at night, the synchronicities that would be impossible to ignore if you were paying attention. The universe is constantly speaking to you, constantly guiding you, constantly trying to show you the way forward. But most of us are so caught up in our heads, so distracted by our devices, so disconnected from our intuition, that we miss it all. We miss the magic happening right in front of us. So here's your invitation, your challenge, your opportunity. Start paying attention, start noticing, start trusting, start acting. The sign you've been looking for is this moment right now. It's the fact that you're still here, still listening, still hoping, still believing that there's more available to you. It's the fact that despite everything you've been through, despite all the disappointments and setbacks and heartbreaks, you haven't given up. You're still asking, you're still seeking, you're still open. That's the sign. That's the proof. That's the universe telling you, yes, keep going, you're on the right path, I'm with you, trust yourself. And here's what I need you to understand about this journey. It's not going to be easy. Taking aligned action never is. You're going to face resistance, both internal and external. You're going to doubt yourself. You're going to have moments where you wonder if you're making a huge mistake. You're going to encounter obstacles and setbacks. People are going to question you. You're going to question yourself. And in those moments, you're going to be tempted to interpret these challenges as signs that you're on the wrong path, signs that you should give up and go back to your old life. But that's not what they are. The challenges are part of the process. They're how you grow. They're how you develop the strength and courage and resilience you'll need to live the life you're creating. They're not signs to stop. They're signs that you're onto something real, something important, something worth fighting for. So when things get hard, and they will, I want you to remember Sarah's story. I want you to remember that she didn't have any guarantees. She didn't have a clear roadmap. She didn't know how everything was going to work out. She just knew that staying where she was wasn't an option anymore. She knew that the pain of not trying was greater than the pain of potentially failing. She knew that she owed it to herself to at least attempt to live the life her soul was calling her toward. And that knowing was enough. It was enough to take the first step, and then the next, and then the next. And those steps led her to a life she couldn't have imagined when she was lying in bed that Tuesday morning, asking the universe for a sign. Your life can transform too, not someday. Not when everything is perfect or when you finally get that magical sign you're waiting for, but right now, today, starting with the decision to trust yourself, to honor your truth, to take one brave step toward the life you know you're meant to live. The universe has already given you everything you need. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep waiting for more signs, more certainty, more permission? Or are you going to recognize that this is it? This is the moment, this is your sign, and you're going to act on it. I know it's scary, I know it feels impossible. I know all the practical concerns that are running through your mind right now, all the reasons why you can't or shouldn't or it's not the right time. I hear you, I see you, but I also see your potential. I see the life that's waiting for you on the other side of your fear. I see the person you're capable of becoming when you finally stop playing small and start living large. I see the joy and fulfillment and meaning that are available to you when you align your life with your truth. And I'm telling you with everything in me that it's worth it. The risk is worth it. The uncertainty is worth it. The hard work is worth it. You are worth it. So stop looking for signs. Stop waiting for permission. Stop doubting yourself. You already know what you need to do. The fact that you're here reading these words right now is your sign. Your inner knowing, that feeling you can't shake, that's your sign. Your dissatisfaction with the status quo, that's your sign. Your dreams that won't die no matter how hard you try to bury them, those are your signs. Your soul's longing for more, for different, for authentic. That's your sign. This is it. This is what you've been asking for. Now the only question is, what are you going to do about it? Take a deep breath, feel into your body, connect with that part of you that knows, that's always known, what you're meant to do. And then take one step. Just one. Make one phone call, send one email, have one conversation, write one page, apply for one thing, change one habit, set one boundary, take one risk, do one thing today that your future self will thank you for. And then tomorrow, do it again. And the day after that, do it again. This is how you build a life. This is how you create transformation. This is how you honor the signs the universe has been sending you all along. You've got this. I believe in you. The universe believes in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. This is your moment. This is your sign. Don't waste it. And if you want, tell me from which corner of the world you are watching this video. Your comment matters, and I want to read it and respond to you. For more exciting stories like this, click on the video that appears on your screen right now.